We are entering one of the most important times of our financial history. We're watching things evolving in front of us. We're watching how these guys are coming out with different opinions, but all of them boils down to one aspect. If this is to happen at a time when crypto market is looking like this, that means we are looking for exponential gains. And if it's about XRP, it's even interesting. Look at that market structure. It kind of literally shows you that whatever argument you make, this is what it is doing. It just changed that trend. With this retest, if you expect a bounce off to the upside, that won't be a bad call. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Right now, we're going through a lot of these assets in the market, showing us how we gave you guys the right opportunity at the right time for most of these assets. If you are looking for something like that, you can look at the link in the description below. Now, if you actually jump into the reality of how things are evolving, yes, this is true, it's important. But let's not jump into that hype wagon where we say prices are skyrocketing because of this. Understand that the macro is changing. Say the price pops from here. A lot of crypto is going up, you're taking profits, you're making a lot of money, great. But what is that asset where you're going to exit into? This is one currency, USD to KRW. There's another currency, USD to JPY, Japanese yen. This is another currency, USD to CAD. All of them shows you one thing. Now, if you want to take in the INR, USD to INR, all of them shows you one aspect. There is going to be heavy volatility. Some of these assets are showing that it can gain during that volatility, and that's what makes it so special. Yes, it is true. This is going to play a huge role in what we are watching in the charts. The reason for that can be precisely just that. Just today, we saw that BRICS is coming up with bond programs, which is not USDT, or which is not USD treasuries. Rather, it's Indian currency, INR, South African currency. So they are moving that value. Now, if you take those currencies and you're like, okay, let me see what the macro market looks like, you're looking for the oil. It's getting rejected on a weekly at a resistance. Great. So you may see that dropping back. You're looking for the safe haven asset. You're seeing the market structure is now going down. You had a trend line. There is no argument that we are going up. In shorter horizon, if your horizon is 5, 10, 15 years, yeah, this is still going up. The trend is still your friend. But on a shorter horizon, you are going to watch a lot of volatility. Take a look at the crypto market at the exact same time. It happens to be at a support. This support is so special for us right now because if we are bouncing off from this, a lot of these different assets which are showing you that they are bouncing from a trend like this. So certain assets like this are going to gain massively, but understand the fact that not all assets in the crypto markets are doing the same price structure. You need to keep in mind that if that asset looks like this, that's great, that's cool. If that asset looks like this, that's okay, that's fine. You have this region, you break higher, you come back, retest, and boom, you take off. But say there are different assets which still show you that we are doing down. We are still at the bottom end. So if you need to see a change in the price structure in these assets, now you want to see them coming above this range. Why is that important? Because if you are a long-term guy in that asset, yeah, it makes all the sense. Go in, accumulate during that era. But if you are entering into the market without knowing much about that asset, just the basics, you're not a mana bug, then it's okay. You're waiting for the confirmation for the new trend and entering in the retest. Boom, you take off. That's where XRP, XLM, and a lot of other assets are there. And if you remember our calls on Acro way before it broke above that range of accumulation, we gave you the understanding like, look at this. This is how the market usually works. And you broke higher, you went up, it's good, it's great. And then what happens? The price decides to correct back down. And on a daily, we told you when we popped, don't chase the green candles. It's going to give you opportunities. This exactly happened in the QTC. This is happening in the Acro. We are watching a lot of these assets breaking through to the upside. It has already done around 20% for this day, and it's still creeping up. So if you understand the macro, yeah, this market is taking off, but not all assets are doing that. Some of the highly hyped projects of last time, say if you actually take a look at Gala, it's still here. It hasn't actually started making a higher high. That's where you are interested in that asset. If you are a long-term guy, in that it's okay, you're buying here. If not, you want them to show you that money is entering in that asset, and that asset price is reflecting that movement. If not, you'll get stuck. That's why we are going through all of these assets one by one, trying to give you guys the macro perspective, because on the other end, we do see that market is volatile. Earlier today, when BNB dropped, there was liquidation in some of these crypto area where they are losing a lot of money. It's at a macro support for sure. It's not trending higher, 100%. It's still at the support. Now, if you get a bounce, it changes the structure. Great, positive. If not, that's not good, because just observe what you're watching here. Now go on, look at this. I know there will be a lot of guys who are really interested in this particular project, who really love this project, but let's be realistic. If the price break below this range, it will not look good. This is just what happened in BNB. So if that's happening in BNB, it can also happen here. Why? If you go back, understanding the reality of the market. Now, don't be guys, literally don't be an individual like this, where he believes all of these other projects are going to zero, just Bitcoin is going to infinity. And I'm like, that's how stupid you can become. Watch the market. Watch what the governments are doing. I literally believe that governments would roll tanks onto the street before they actually give up their control on the currency. Central banks will never allow that. So if CBDCs are coming out, and I believe it's coming out soon, look for the infrastructure projects which are making that system work. Like the XRP ledger, like the XTC, the XLM, HBAR, Quant. You have a lot of them. So they will go up in value. These tweets will reflect back on them in like 2 years, but the reality never changes. Why is that? Because when you actually come down, boil down to things like this, we are watching the BRICS payment system working. We are actually watching at a lot of different things which are evolving quickly. The financial system is changing in front of us. And when we talked about Ether, now look at this. This guy is moving 1 million USD into Coinbase. Maybe he's gonna sell that. We really don't know. But then you actually go listen to this guy. I'm like, that's Bank of International Settlements, giving you the idea of how the payments in Ether works. Think about this for a moment. They are showing you why the price, the fees is so high, why it's not scalable, because of its system. Whether it's the proof of work, the older version, and the current one of proof of stake. He's highlighting the fact that these are bull load of shit, nothing else, right? So if that's the perspective from a guy in the Bank of International Settlements, most central banks really don't want to even touch that to execute the payments. Maybe they can do the smart contracts on them and use another ledger to do the payments, because that doesn't work well for the payments ecosystem. So yes, you understand the macro, the micro and all, and in front of us, some of the banking crises are coming back. When you actually look for the prices, some of these banks actually were calling much lower price for NVIDIA when we were saying buy it. When it was around 160, 170 range, I was saying, okay, buy this now. I think that's a good investment. It went up 400, 420, we took profits. Now they're calling for 780 and I'm like, That's a level of panic, because when they were calling for the downside, it went up. Now they are calling for the upside, it should go down, the normal common sense. But on the other end, why should it go down? It can still continue higher a little bit, that's for sure. But the banking industry doesn't look that good. You're watching another bank, which I think acquired TD in US, is now laying off. They're laying off big time. They are in losses and they need to cover this position. Otherwise, this is going to be another very bad situation in the financial history. So all of them happening in the West at a time when BRICS is screwing them one by one. Now, I'm not saying every Asian currencies are doing great, because some of them are literally doing the opposite. They are getting hammered. If this historical pattern is playing out, I mean, look at this. It broke higher, it came back, it retested, it's bouncing off. So if it's actually going above this range, it's going to be a panic in that country. Now, look at yen. It's also doing something similar. On a macro scale, you have this pattern, you broke higher. Now, what does all this mean for you and me when you're taking profits? That's the important part I would like to bring into your attention, because think about this. These people lost 80% of their purchasing power in last 10 years. That's bad. If you put $1 million in the bank and in 10 years you literally have 20% of that, that's really bad. In 2 years, 3 years time, you lost 30%. To the date, you lost 50% of it, which is nonsense. If you look at the Korean won, it's an entirely different thing. So you guys remember, I was there. And when I was there, it was at this point. So if I waited till that time to get out, that was like 40% of my wealth is gone, because the currency depreciated. And it's still going up. And the upside, that's bad. Which means those countries which are sticking to the US dollar and all, they're going to get hammered much more for sure, because we are watching all of the signs. When dollar drops, they're going to drop way harder. But on the other side, we are watching the BRICS related currencies are gaining strength for some reason. Not all of them, but the ones with the proper demographics, where money is moving, the investments are moving, the brain power is attracting. All of that's happening in some of these regions, and that's where it's going. So talk to your bank. If you can hold foreign currencies, that's going to be helpful. Say in India, we say FCNR limit. So if you have that limit, say buy for one for yourself, one for your wife, keep that. When you're taking profits, make sure you have some of these healthy currencies. Then yeah, the metals, gold, silver, whatever you want, then real estate, the real hard assets, all of that works. But make sure you're not putting everything into a currency which can screw you. Because think about this, if this actually go back to the historical levels of 300, you literally drop. If it goes 100% to the upside, which means you lose 50% of your money in the bank. You take 10 million in profit, great. Half of that is gone in terms of the purchasing power in a year or two. You don't want that to happen. If this is bouncing higher, the market is going up, you're making a ton of profit, it's all good, great. But if you cannot use it in a year or two, if you didn't preserve that, now all the efforts which you have put in last 3-4 years to accumulate these assets until the time when you're taking the profits, it's gone, right? So you want to make the right choice in the market. I know this is not the hype video, and a lot of people may not find this attractive, because this is the real value, because this is where we talk about the reality. If this breaks lower, get out of the asset. It can be painful, because if it's dropping to these levels, there can be long way to the downside, consolidation, all of that. But the real projects on the other end are slowly grinding higher, making new trend going up. So money is not leaving the market. Those who are in the market are now searching for better assets and moving into those assets, which are giving you the opportunity. So guys, if you receive value, please do smash that like button. And if you haven't done that already, I would request consider doing that. If you're looking for updates on a lot of these crypto assets, which you have in your portfolio, consider looking at the Patreon. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.